Hey British Lit, this is a little summary video over chapters 10 through 13. Sorry, I don't think you can see my whole face. All right, ignore the mess in the background. All right, so chapter 10 takes place in London and is a year after the trial and all of that kind of stuff. It's a year after the Marquis dies. And so it talks about just kind of them getting back into normal life. Charles Darnay is now a French teacher in London. And he loves like just doing honest work. And also it talks about he loved Lucy Manette from the hour of his danger. So from the point of his trial, like he's loved her since then. But he has never told her that she has those feelings. So he asks to speak to the doctor, and says that he loves the doctor's daughter. And he asks, you know, if the doctor will speak for him, when talking to Lucy, kind of just like, you know, hey, how do you feel about that Charles guy? You know, he seems like a good person. So he's just kind of asking him to encourage, or kind of just to find out partly what Lucy's feelings are, because he really has no idea. But he wants to ask her father first, especially because Lucy and her father, since he's come back from prison and kind of come back to life for Lucy, they just have this really inseparable bond. And so Charles doesn't want to get in the way of that. He wants to make sure that her father, you know, feels that way too. And he says like he doesn't want to get in the way of the relationship between Lucy and her father. And so he wants him to understand that, you know, they would share Lucy. It wouldn't be, you know, they would probably all live together. It wouldn't be, you know, he wouldn't take her from him. So, and he's hoping to come back and talk to her the next day. But the doctor's like, I really don't know, you know, how she's feeling. But Charles knows that without the doctor's approval, like there's no way Lucy would want to be with Charles. So he's asking for a favor. So, and there is the question of what about Sydney Carton and Stryver, because they seem to visit as well. So Darnay really doesn't know what Lucy says. So, so there are two promises made here. One of them is that Charles asks the doctor to urge no influence against me. So like, don't say things against me. And he does say, I give the promise, Dr. Manette does. And then Charles Darnay wants to share all of his secrets. He says, my present name is not my actual name. I want to tell you what it is, and why I'm in England. And the doctor says, stop. And he says, how about you tell me on your marriage morning? So like the day you get married, you can tell me then. So that way, if they don't actually end up getting married, he doesn't have to know, you know, he doesn't have to reveal his secret. So then Charles leaves, and Lucy hears a noise, and she realizes that her father is back shoemaking. So there's a lot of questions, like, why is he doing that? You can see Esme in the background there. So there you go. Esme. There she is. Okay, chapter 11 is also in London. It is Sydney and Stryver kind of talking. I don't know about you guys. I am not a fan of Mr. Stryver. Stryver says he's going to reveal something to Sydney. Sorry, I lost whose name is who. And it just kind of talks about like whenever they're at Lucy's and the doctor's, you know, Sydney doesn't have like a good personality. He's just kind of like a bummer to be around all the time. And so he's like, you're disagreeable when we go over there. You know, this isn't fun. And yeah, but then, yeah, so he's just kind of telling him like, what's wrong with you? That kind of thing. Now, Stryver says that he is planning, like he wants to get married. He wants a woman to kind of take care of him. And that's pretty much it. Like he's not worried about like love. He's worried about like someone to take care of him in his house and, you know, make his food and that kind of stuff. And it says that he has decided that the young lady is Miss Manette. So he's decided that he's going to marry Lucy. This is Stryver. And it says that after he reveals that, Sydney Carton drank the punch at a great rate. And it says, Stryver says, I don't care about fortune. He's not worried that she doesn't have any money. But she's worthy of good fortune. So that's good at least. But he does say, like, I want to marry, have someone take care of me. It's not a love thing. It's just a make a home thing. And then he gives advice to Sydney and says, you need to marry. Find somebody who will take care of you. It's kind of like you're a mess. Find somebody who, kind of clean you up. Okay, chapter 12 is also in London. Mr. Stryver plans to, I love this line, make Lucy's happiness known to her. Meaning like he's going to reveal like, you're going to be so happy because you get to marry me. I don't know that I feel that way, but and so he is going to go on a long vacation. He's thinking that he'll just take Lucy with, we'll get married. Lucy can come with. So you can kind of see the difference between Charles Darnay and Stryver in that Charles Darnay is very respectful of Lucy's relationship with her father. Stryver probably doesn't even pay attention to it. And so Stryver goes to meet with Mr. Lorry, which I think is so funny because I love Mr. Lorry. And he's like, I just want to know, like, do you think I have a chance, kind of is what he's asking, which he's pretty sure there is a chance. He's like, I'm going to go propose. And Mr. Lorry's like, oh, what? He says, oh, dear me. And Lorry says, how about I go, Mr. Lorry says, how about I go find out for you? So that way, that way you don't have to go yourself. I can find out, for you, because I'm just not sure that you'll be successful. And so then Mr. Stryver does say some kind of mean things about Lucy. And he just kind of gets upset because Mr. Lorry says, you need to find out if you even have a chance. And so Mr. Lorry gets onto him about being disrespectful. But Mr. Lorry does say, I will go and find out. If you have a chance, wait till I come back to tell you. It's like, I'll do that for you. It's just kind of funny. And Mr. Stryver's really not concerned. He's sure that, Lucy will want to marry him, but he does find out that, no, it's not going to happen for him. So that's kind of, there you go. Then chapter 13 is The Fellow of No Delicacy. And this is again in London. We're in London for quite a bit in these chapters. We do start to switch back and forth a little bit more soon. It says, if Sydney Carton ever shone anywhere, he certainly never shone in the house of a doctor. He was moody and morose. He just seemed like he didn't care about anything, which kind of brings some shock later. And then Mr. Stryver told Sydney that he thought better of marrying, of the marrying matter, like he's not going to get married. He doesn't say it's because Lucy doesn't want him, of course. And it does talk about Lucy just isn't 100% comfortable with Sydney, but they kind of have some time to themselves, and it says he has tears in his eyes. And he just kind of talks about, like, it's too late for that. Because he says something about the life he leads and it's not conducive to health. And she's like, why not change it? And he has tears and he kind of just says it's too late. I'm just going to keep sinking lower and lower. And he says, I'm like one who died young. All my life might have been. So he keeps talking about, like, regrets and, his life could have been totally different. And it's just not the way he wanted it to be. So it's just unfortunate. I really like Sydney Carton in this chapter because I think it shows what kind of a person he is. He's actually a really good guy that's just made a lot of mistakes. And he does say here, I wish you to know that you have been the last dream of my soul. My degradation, I have not been so degraded, but that the sight of you with your father and of this home made such a home by you has stirred old shadows that I thought had died out of me. So he just has this remorse, and he kind of says that she brought some hope back to him. But it does say that he is unhappy. And sometimes seeing her, I think, makes him unhappier because if he had lived a better life, he might have been able to be with Lucy. And let's see, what else do you need to know? And Lucy does have some emotion for him. She weeps for him. And he does make a promise to her at the end, and this is super important. He says, for you and for any dear to you, I would do anything. The time will come, the time will not be long in coming, when new ties will be formed about you, meaning he knows she's going to get married, soon. And he says, but remember, there's a man who would give his life to keep a life you love beside you. And then he says, farewell, God bless you. And that is the end of chapter 10 through 13. So yeah, hopefully you like these chapters. I like them. You see a lot of character development and just character, who each character is. You get to see all of the men pining for Lucy and just their different characteristics. So don't forget to be posting on the discussion board and that kind of stuff. So